had cable every morning. We get up and it's just rough.
That's okay. I mean, we started at 6:30 today anyway, so you're
okay. Yeah, when I saw that, I was happy. I was like, "Come on, cable, get out of here."
All right. Well, I think
you're up and live. You're good.
Yep. I think we're up and running. So we're going to call this to order at 6:38.
Okay. Yeah, when I saw that, I was happy. I was like, "Come on, cable, get out of here."
Oh, is there a little bit of feedback there? I think we're up and. Okay, I think we're good. I was hearing like a feedback there. All right, so first off is just membership updates, which I believe the only two people we have that are up for anything are Chad and John. So I think all you have to do is get your organization. Okay, sorry, had another pop up there. I think all you have to do is get your organizations to say to keep you, and then I'm guessing if you shoot an email to Risa, she'll recertify you.
I think we have to fill out an application again. Didn't we have to do that last time?
I don't know about the whole application. If you talk to Risa over at the mayor's office, she'll definitely walk you through it. There may be some kind of a little bit of paperwork you fill out, but I don't think it'd be the whole app again.
I think there was just some kind of an informational sheet that had to be filled out before the reapproval.
Right.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, and it might be something your organization just has to sign, but yeah, we've got you in as fire and John as EMS. So next chance I get to talk to him, I'll remind him.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, it was the fire chief had to sign it.
That sounds right. Okay. And bear with me. I just want to make sure I get everyone marked down that's here. Okay. Next thing, I don't have anything for Route 40 ad hoc or Blenheim. As far as I know, they haven't really met. Any new road grants, Tim?
Not at this time. No, we have had a request for, I guess that's Grace Manor, the private road. They're looking to ask the city to, I've had a meeting with their HOA and they're investigating whether or not to have the city take over their road. I guess is that Grace? It might be Graceview or Grace Manor. I'm not sure. I think it's Graceview, maybe.
Graceview.
But that's
do you know which development that's in? Or is it Graceview? Is that the
development? If you're going up, if you're at the intersection of Graceview and Grace Manor, it's the road. As you're going up Chapel Road, it's the road on your right at the.
Oh, is that Grace Croft? You mean?
Grace Croft. That's what it is. It's Grace Croft.
Yeah, because it's just Grace Croft is just that little, like, it goes straight back. Then there's like a little bit of a circle, so it's not that much.
Back there, yes, that's it.
Okay.
So they didn't meet with them. They're looking to see how the city can take that road over.
Right, and as long as they fall within the normal parameters, I would assume that would be fine.
I gave them the parameters at the meeting. I met with their HOA people, and actually, I told them to contact Steve Amatori to get the ball rolling. So that's where they need to be.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Did we hear anything? Have we heard anything new from State Highways on that traffic pattern around the old 7-Eleven?
Actually, the only thing they're still working on a traffic study for it. The last I heard that they're still doing investigations on the design. I have not heard anything back from them on that. No.
So on that issue, I've been having conversations with Curtis Beulah about it, just to make sure that we keep it front and center for him. And he wants to meet with State Highways on the 10th of September. He's going to be setting up a meeting. Once I have the time, I'll let everybody know about not only that intersection, but also the intersection at Lewis, making it more pedestrian friendly.
Are you talking about Lewis and Route 40?
Yes.
Okay, because the Lewis and Revolution, we're getting ready to release. We're getting ready to start construction on that intersection.
Yeah. No, up at Route 40, those two locations, and just making it more pedestrian.
Excuse me, Cassie, did you say Curtis Beulah?
Yes, Curtis Beulah.
I know
like
him.
I said, once I get a time, I'll send to the group. If anybody would like to join us, you're more than welcome to.
But I don't know if it'll be helpful, but you might want to try and if you get a chance to talk to him, have him talk with Chad Schroeds, because I think he's been going to those Darlington meetings, because I want to say they're having a real issue with the Conowingo Dam traffic, because what happens is the trucks that come off, they either go, they come off 95 and go right or left. So they either go into Havity Grace or they go through Darlington. So I believe they're having the same
We
problem.
missed
we
you
are.
yesterday. Because everybody comes over on Sunday, after first you park and eat.
You should, let me see if I can mute Cheryl real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
It's okay. Okay, so anyway, but yeah, I think if there's a way for us to liaise with someone over in Darlington, it might be a good idea to talk with them, because maybe if we can come up with a solution that works for everyone. It's the same thing for Perryville. I mean, they've got the same exact problem we do. But maybe including all three jurisdictions might help. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll talk to Chad too. Things that I brought up to him is, how Waves relocates people and tells them to go down the wrong, go down streets that large tractor trailers should not be going down. It's, makes it impossible for people to safely cross the street because of the way the traffic pattern is, and they have to come up with a better solution in general.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say the last meeting they had up there in Darlington, I want to say Chad and a couple other people were up there. And that was one of their main topics of conversation, was the amount of truck traffic and other kind of traffic they're getting that's going over the Conowingo Dam that's coming right through the main drag of their town.
And Chad, am I correct to say that we are having an accident on 95 and 40? It's definitely once a week. The traffic. Is it more than once a week?
Well, probably I can get those stats for you, but off the top of my head, it is probably every other day.
Okay. Yeah.
It's very frequently.
No, that would be really helpful if I can get that information by the 10th.
No problem.
Are we thinking that's construction related, that the construction is somehow causing, because it seems like they've really upticked a lot in their accidents on 95.
Yeah, but a lot of them are just in the center of the bridge. They're not really.
Wasn't there like a fire in the center of the bridge?
There was. I mean, there's a little bit of everything, but majority of them are true vehicle accidents. And a lot of time it's somebody rear-ending somebody else during heavy traffic times already. But it's a little bit of everything. I'll get those numbers for you, Casey.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I know the traffic's been awful pretty much every weekend. Just every weekend, avoid 95 it's what it seems like.
It's horrible.
And
then it then spills over into our neighborhoods. And because Waves, everybody's using Waves to try to find a way around it. And we have trailers going up streets that are not wide enough for a tractor trailer to go up through.
No, I agree. As far as, I'm going to keep it on here for a little bit longer, but the safe routes to the new school, wait until school starts, and then we'll have a little bit more data, or at least an idea or a way to get data on which way people are walking. So we're going to put a pin in that one.
Are they going to be putting that sidewalk in by the bridge? Or in Ostego?
You're talking about that one in front of Fence by Fenner? Right.
Well, we have not released the contract yet. We have not, we've not proceeded that because we were waiting to see where schools were moved, how schools were going. So if I have to talk to Patrick, and we'll have to go get some kind of RFP together to get that contract released to actually start construction. I think we were looking at using one of the contractors that we have, that Patrick was talking about, using the contractor that we have on that's working on Lewis Street. So I'll have to talk to him about that and see where we're at with the sidewalk construction. Is this Juniata? Yeah, I have to look at that.
Yeah, right in front of what I think it's Fence by Fenner, right?
At the stadium, yeah, Fence by Fenner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'll give it Patrick to see what we can do about that.
Sorry to cut. I didn't hear what you say there, Tim.
I just said I'll get with Patrick tomorrow and we'll talk about it and get an RFP put together.
The Tidings Park and Basin area. So I know they've done a little bit of work, and there's been some stuff. I think they've repainted. Did you guys repaint some of the lines over there, or did it just look
Yep,
clear?
we did. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll leave it on here, but I don't know if that. I mean, they just had a festival over there this past weekend. Did we hear anything that negative that came from that, speeding or parking issue wise? Other than there's not enough parking, which there's no fix to that.
I think the
I didn't hear
barriers that you guys put up, Tim, is working great. I don't know how many times they move the barriers and jump the curb anyway, but
Well, we're
Okay.
doing our best.
Ken, you didn't hear anything as far as police wise about this. Okay.
No, nobody reported anything. As far as I know, it went smoothly.
Okay, well, good. We'll leave that one up at least through the end of the year. Just keep checking, and hopefully that'll be fixed. And I know the parking lot down by Tidewater Grill and the Legion, we talked about that getting done after the construction is finished at the water plant, right? Because you guys
Right,
are
for the
going to work.
intake pipe.
Right.
We're scheduled to start construction there with the intake pipes in the next month.
Okay. Yeah, there was no reason to fix the lines and everything until that gets done, because they're just going to tear up new paint. So
Exactly.
we'll put a pin in that one. The list of pedestrian activated crossings, I know they're pretty much all state highways, but what you were saying was the one at Lewis and Revolution is at least getting hopefully updated.
Right, we're in contact with John Venenza, letting them know our construction schedule. So next 2 weeks, we're going to be redoing that intersection, and then we've notified John Venenza. So that was what was holding him up. I asked him to hold off on, obviously, on putting in the pedestrian crossing until we had the construction done. So we're letting him know that we're initiating construction when our anticipated dates are done, and then he'll get in there, I guess, and coordinate with us to get that all taken care of at the same time.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, you've got the agenda. So that list there, I think, is the main ones that we were talking about. But I mean, that ties in with the safe routes to the new school, because a lot of those intersections were the ones we were talking about, kids using save. The library one, I think, was the Opera House. I don't know how many kids are going to use that on the way to school, but most of the rest of those, I think, were school related. Lewis and Route 40, as far as pedestrian crossing times, I know Casey just mentioned it, but do we know if State Highways ever got a chance to get out there to look at the timing on those lights?
I don't know anything about that. I have not been following that. I know there's like one of those CIP walkthroughs that's in September, where State Highway meets with the Hartford County delegation and City of Havre de Grace, and we go over to county and we bring up demands. I guess we can find out. We can bring that up at that meeting. I can't remember the date. It's sometime in September, like the 16th or something in September.
Okay. Yeah, I know that that was one of the things that brought up. There's not enough time, even if you hit the button, to cross for a kid to get from one side to the other. So we were talking about maybe having them lengthen it during, like, right when school starts, or right before school starts, and right when it lets out. So that way there'd be a little bit more leeway for people for pedestrians at that point. All right, so that does
or
that.
maybe even figure out some way that when they get stranded in the middle of the island, that there's some kind of added protection there. Because again, the tractor trailers will turn there and they cut the curb closely.
Okay. Possible openings in the fence. So that one, I think, is just going to stay on for a little bit. But anytime, I mean, obviously, if you guys are walking it and you see it, but I know Ken told us that the police department routinely takes a look and then lets Amtrak know wherever they find openings. So hopefully that's pretty well taken care of. And I took it off of our list here, but the crossing, that railroad crossing that we were working with Union Pacific, that got fixed.
Yay!
And only a little bit of complaining while it got fixed about the road being shut down. So I think that worked out pretty well.
It's so much nicer now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So hopefully we won't see that pop up now for a while. So that's been taken care of. Next thing on the agenda is the in-person meeting. So we're going to stick with Zoom at least through the end of the year, like my email said, and then we'll revisit it. We'll revisit next year, see what's going on, what the city's doing, whether we're back in masks then, who knows, but we'll keep an eye on it and then make a decision when that comes up. Let's see. Next one that's on here. And so this came up in between our last meeting and this one, and it had to do with a mailbox that's being hit on Chapel Road routinely, I guess, or has been hit multiple times. So I took a look and I drove up there. I'm not sure how much we'll be able to do because I looked at the video that the person sent. And it doesn't seem like the person that hit the mailbox was because of a road issue. It seems like it was a person issue, like someone either had some issues driving or something. It didn't look like there's a road fix to that. So if you guys get a chance to drive up in, it's basically the same area of Chapel. It's that stretch from what it was past Tidings. Now I'll pull it up again. But Casey, do you remember what stretch it was?
No, I don't know. I can't remember what the address was. Let's see if I can find it on my phone.
Yeah, bear with me for one quick second. All right.
1480 Chapel Road.
Yeah, that's it. Which I'll tell you
Can you share your screen? You want to show everybody?
Oh, I was pulling it up on a different computer. It's the stretch after. It's pretty much right after you make that left off of Grace Manor, in between Grace Manor and Tidewater. If you guys know that stretch there. So if you're on Grace Manor, like you're doing the cut through heading to Chapel, you make a left on Chapel, and it's right in between, right exactly in the middle between Grace Manor and Tidewater. So the road there is actually fairly, from what I could tell and when I drove by it, I mean, the road there is pretty wide. I don't think it's a passing issue. And I mean, I can try and make a point to drive up there again, but I mean, Chad, I think the fire trucks would be by that area a lot, I would think. And I don't know that they've had any issues there.
No, none that I'm aware of at all.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that there's much that we'll be able to do other than.
So Tim, in that area, what are homeowners allowed to do as far as planting trees and stuff like that?
Well, typically we would prefer that they not put so they could plant trees, but it would have to be out. We would ask it be outside the road right away. So typically the road right away, if there's a sidewalk, it would be either at the out 1 foot outside the edge of the sidewalk if there's an existing sidewalk, or it's typically right at the edge of a telephone pole. But they can plant trees, but we prefer them not to be in the city road right away.
Right. So like if you're on that part of Chapel Road, so the other side of the road there is no real shoulder. But if you're on that side of Chapel Road, like that, the even side of Chapel Road there, I mean, it's wide enough. It's 2 car widths wide on that side. I mean, that's the side that has, for lack of a better word,
to park, and they parked in the past.
Yeah. I mean,
their car keeps getting hit when they park there. So they don't park outside anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that road's wide enough that you could easily park and another car get through and there shouldn't be an issue. Again, unless the issue is with the individual drivers, not, the actual roadway. I don't know if it's wide enough that we could run a white stripe. I think if we ran a white stripe, just the distances that those had to be, that might make it so you definitely couldn't park there, which, I mean, we could do, but it sounds like the neighbors have already decided not to park there, and that's probably the right thing to do.
I mean, we've had this conversation before about striping the sides so that people know what the lane is.
And Tim, can you recall if there was a reason why we didn't?
The only thing I could say was that if you do have it depends on the width of the pavement. And I guess what I was saying is if you're going to have 11 or 12-foot travel lane, typically in order for you to park, if you paint a white stripe, that white stripe has to be, the shoulder there has to be at least 7 feet wide. So so if we park a stripe and we put that stripe there, then it will eliminate, you'll have people parking in the travel lane. I guess if you have it in the designated travel lane. So I guess that's the issue, is going up there and seeing if there's enough, if there's 7 feet between when I go from the center line of the road out to say 11-foot travel lane. And then from that 11-foot travel lane, white line to the face of curb is 7 feet, then you can maintain the parking area. If not, then those spaces will then, that parking will then be within the travel lane, and that would probably be an issue. I mean, if it's the issue, we just put, I guess that's what I'm talking about. That's the only concern I have with it.
And just remind, we do own that part of Chapel Road, right?
Yes, we do. We own that portion of Chapel Road.
Okay.
We don't, we own pretty much everything on Chapel Road up until we get to Bully Rock Parkway. Once we get past the roundabout on Chapel Road, our ownership of the Chapel Road technically ends at the intersection of Bully Rock Parkway and Chapel Road, where we are in the process of acquiring a portion of that roadway now. I'm working with the county, but our ownership of the road, even though the county put that sign out there that says the city owns it, we do not own that road. And so we own from we stop ownership at Chapel Road and Bully Rock Parkway intersection.
Right, where the water tower is, basically.
But we pretty much own all the way from Route 40, Chapel Road, Route 40, all the way up to that point.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, if anyone gets a chance to drive by up there, and let me know if you guys come up with a better solution, but I'm not, I feel like Tim's right. The reason we rejected the white line thing was because I think someone did the measurements for us and there wasn't enough room to do. I mean, there's enough room to drive by it and park there, but there's not enough for the code for there to be the 11 and the 7, because I don't remember how wide it was, but I feel like 18 wasn't the right answer.
Yeah.
Which would mean if we do that, then we're going to get rid of all the parking on that side, which might not be an issue, I guess, if they don't care about the parking, but I'm not sure throwing up a white line is going to stop someone from swerving and hitting a mailbox either. I mean, that might just be a futile effort on our part too. All right, so that's the last thing that I had as far as agenda things. Does anyone have any new business? Now, I will say the first thing for new business was actually just right to the side of that on Grace Manor Drive, about halfway in between Grace Manor Drive. So it's halfway between Coventry and Joe Hill. If anyone gets a chance to do that drive. And I think Chad had already mentioned he's done it a few times, that there's a parking issue there as far as a couple of trucks that are making it hard to pass. Ken, maybe if you get a chance, if you can, either you or one of your guys drive up there, and if it is really just the 2 trucks parking there, if we can figure out who owns them and maybe talk to just a simple conversation with the owners to ask them if there's a way that they could either stagger their parking or figure out a way to make it a little easier on everyone else. And maybe that's the quickest, easiest solution, is to just see if they're willing to move. I'd say we go. Yeah, I think that's a path of least resistance route, as opposed to, petitioning the HOA and then making half of the road, or one side of the road no parking, which is the only other way to fix that, is you make one side of the road no parking, and then that fixes the problem. But my guess is that area, they probably need that road parking to be able to put cars in. Because
They all have garages and driveways through there, those houses, but it's a three car width across there. So whenever you have two cars, there's only one lane in the middle. Whether it's a car or a large SUV, it doesn't matter. It's the road is very narrow there. So
Right.
the cars that we've seen up there are all parked legally. It's the road, not the vehicles per se. So like you said, the only probably solution would be to make one side no parking. And then you'll have issues with people there, but it's about it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to cause a bigger problem by making one side no parking. I'm going to assume that's going to cause a relatively large issue there too. So maybe the first thing first is we just talk to the people who own the trucks and see if they're amenable to not parking, directly across from each other and staggering a little bit, and see if that helps. Does anyone else have any other comments they've heard over the last couple months from citizens? Okay. How about any?
One more.
Oh, sure, Casey.
And it's just to make everybody aware. It's happening throughout the country. The street lights are turning purple, and they're not turning purple for the Ravens. They're turning purple because there is something wrong with the light, and it's making the light turn from a yellowish tone to a purple tone. And BGE is going to be replacing them, but we need to start capturing where they are and calling into them so that they know which ones are turning purple.
And I don't know if you have a way to do this or not, Tim, but is there a way to get that message like put on the city webpage, or at least on the part of the city webpage where people would go to report traffic light, or not traffic lights, street lights being out? Maybe if there's a way to get like a pop-up or something like that on the city page. That way, anyone who visits that page, if they see these lights, they can say something. And I can also shoot around an email to Adam and see if there's a way that, see if that's something that would be under his purview. I don't know who does the website, but whoever does that, maybe we can talk to him, because that might be a good idea. I haven't noticed any. Have you, Casey?
It's actually in the past month, more of them are starting to turn. Before it was just one. It was the one outside of City Hall. But in the past month, there's more and more of them that are starting to turn. It's a slow, it starts off like a light purple hue, and then it becomes more and more purple as the piece ages.
And we're sure we don't want to keep them for the Ravens.
I vote we keep them.
Light is produced at that spectrum.
Is that soccer?
Yes, the Ravens soccer team.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes, it's a football with a U. All right. So has anyone else heard anything from citizens? Okay. How about any of you guys? Has anyone noticed anything we need to bring up?
JW, I have just one question.
Sure.
The 900 block of South Stokes, that's blocked with equipment. Looks like maybe gas lines are going to be replaced. But it's been kind of blocked with no progress for a while. Does anyone know what's going on or what the status is?
I'm a 100% defer to Tim.
That project, that equipment, actually, the project is moving forward. It's a sewer replacement project, a lining project on Commerce Street. So they've closed that street as a way to store the equipment, and we've kind of allowed them to do that. So they should be out of there, and then probably the next, I'm going to say the next 2 weeks, they were lining the sewer. They're completing that this week, and then next week they're going to do a section. They have a section of sewer replacement. So that's what that's all about. So within the next 2 to 3 weeks, they should be out of there.
Okay, I did actually this evening running by. I did see the Commerce section. They were actively working on that. So I just wondered.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
Hey,
Okay,
Tim,
thank you.
what is the next project that's going to be closing down streets?
Well, we've got, there's the Green Street water line and the Wilson Street water line. So yes, those are going to be two projects that are going to be impacting the roadways. Now they will be closed temporarily. Obviously, we'll ask for people not to park on there during the day, and then once the evening comes up, they'll be plated, and the trenches will be plated, and people will be able to park their cars in front of their homes again. So, but those are the two projects, and right now we're trying to get projects. It's with equipment and piping and things like that, and materials. So we're looking to try to get those things started within the next month or so. But those are the two projects right now that are going to be resulting in some street closures, temporary street closures.
Okay. So that is all I have for my agenda, other than our next meeting will be October 25th. And that'll, roughly 2 months from now. And then we'll meet again in November, which I don't have the date off the top of my head, but it was in that email I sent you guys, so that way you can plan. But I believe it's the Monday before Thanksgiving. But that's, again, it's either the Monday before or the Monday after. I just can't remember.
The Monday before Thanksgiving is the 22nd of November.
Okay. And
that would be the fourth Monday of the month.
Okay, good. So that's our next two. Unless anyone has anything else, I'm going to call it at 7:09.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. And I'll be in contact with you guys by email, before the October meeting to remind you, get you the link and everything. So that way we can do everything. But again, it will be a Zoom meeting. But yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
See you. Bye-bye.